Hello and welcome to today's session on regression analysis. What is regression analysis? It is a set of statistical methods which is used for the estimation of relationship between a dependent variable and one or more independent variable. This method can be utilized to assess the strength of the relationship between variables, and on the basis of this it can be used for modeling the future relationship between them. So basically a regression analysis makes it possible to predict also another variable on the basis of one or more variables. So we know that what are dependent and independent variables. Here are the variable to be inferred, or you can say the variable which from which we want to learn something or get a result is called the dependent variable, or a criterion also you can say. And the variables which are used for prediction during the experiment are called independent variables. Let's understand this better with an example. We want to understand what influences a person's salary. So in this diagram you can see that the independent variables here are the highest level of education, weekly working hours, and age of the person. And what we want to know, the dependent variable, we want to know the outcome of these independent variables is on the salary, and the salary here is the dependent variable because we want to know the outcome of these independent variables on the salary, which is the dependent variable. It's the purpose of regression analysis. When you do a regression analysis, two goals can be achieved. On the one hand, the influence of one or more variables on another variable, you can measure this thing. And on the other hand, the regression can be used to predict a variable by one or more other variables. So the regression analysis will provide information about how the value of the independent variable changes if one of the independent variables is changed. Types of regression analysis. Regression analysis are divided into simple linear regression, multiple linear regression, and logistic regression. The type of regression analysis that should be used depends on the number of independent variable and the scale of measurement of the dependent variable. Scale of measurement, as you know, are the ordinal, nominal, metric. These are the different types of scale of measurement. If you only want to use one variable for prediction, then you will use the simple regression. If you use more than one variable, then you need to perform the multiple regression. And if the independent variable is nominally scaled, a logistic regression must be calculated. Let's understand again this with the same diagram which we used earlier. Here what I have done is I have boxed the weekly working hours and the salary. So I have taken just one independent variable, which is weekly working hours, and the dependent variable is salary. So this is, since I am just using one independent variable, so this becomes a simple linear regression. And if I am using all of the variables, the highest level of education, working hours, and the age of the person, then it becomes the multiple linear regression, where the dependent variable is salary. Now the logistic regression is that you use all the variables in logistic regression, which is the same with the multiple regression, but here in the dependent variable another variable is coming up, so which is performance output of employees. So that's why the logistic regression is used here, because here we are getting another variable to be understood. So here performance output of employees, which means that based on the independent variable here we are obviously trying to understand the salary, how it is influenced because of these independent variables. But also performance of output of employees is also being understood, whether there is a risk of burnout, if the employees are able to perform better because of these independent variables. So that sort of also become another point of study.